Hello, I hope you're fine wherever you're watching this lesson from. My name is Teacher Ibrahim. This is lesson number 60. In our 59th lesson, we were looking at the organs and organ systems. And now we are going to look at the properties of the cell membrane. Before we look into that, I would like us to understand the meaning of the word membrane and the types of membrane that we may also be having apart from the cell membrane. There are various organelles which are found inside the cell which bear various types of membranes which also perform the same role as the cell membrane, whose function is to regulate movement of substances in and out of those specific organelles. We have organelles such as the mitochondria, which have the mitochondrial membrane. We may also have the chloroplast, which have the two membranes. It is said to be double membranous. We also have the nuclear membrane. This is the membrane which covers the nucleus. We also have the tonoplast membrane. But now, as much as they perform the role of regulating movement of substances in and out of those organelles, our most important point of concern here is the cell membrane. When I think you are able to remember the structure of the cell membrane as we looked at in lesson number 54. This one here is the cell membrane. Just look at it as a simple reminder before we start. When you look at the cell membrane, you notice that it is having three parts. That is the pores, the phospholipid bilayer, or you can call it the phospholipid layer, and it is also having the protein layer, which are two in number. I would like us to look at the properties of the cell membrane. The first property that always comes into the mind of various students when I mention the cell membrane is semipermeability. Why? Because it is said to be selectively permeable. Semipermeability is the ability to allow small molecule substances in and out of the cell, while the large molecules do not. If you have the cell membrane which is separated, the cell membrane which is having two different solutions of different concentration in those two different sites, maybe inside the cell we have a lowly concentrated solution, while outside the cell we have a highly concentrated solution. We will be having only water molecule moving into the cell. Reason being, the cell membrane only allows small molecule substance. Like in this case, the small molecule substances are the water molecules, while the sugar molecules or maybe the salt molecules are of bigger particles, hence they cannot be allowed into and out of the cell. That was semipermeability. Let us move to the second property of the cell membrane. The second one is sensitivity to change in temperature and pH. The cell membrane is protein in nature. All substances that are protein in nature are highly affected by the intensified change in temperature. When the temperature changes to a very high degree, the protein may be denatured, or we say may be destroyed. It is destroyed through making it to coagulate. When I say coagulate, I want you to think of something that becomes a solid, which solidifies. yet it was a semi-solid. It was a semi-solid structure, but when exposed to a higher temperature, it becomes a solid. Just like when you boil the eggs, the protein which is in it makes it to solidify, to coagulate. When coagulation takes place, then the pores which are in between which are found in the membrane will be blocked. When the pores have been blocked, then these semi-permeable membrane will not be able to perform its function. That is why we say that it is sensitive to change in temperature. The pH is most likely to affect the functionality of the cell membrane, because when the pH decreases, that is when it becomes much more acidic, these pores may also not be able to perform their function of letting in and out the substances that may get into and out of the cell. This is happening because most of the physiological processes that take place inside the cell are enzymatic controlled. They are controlled by enzymes, and therefore enzymes are highly affected by the temperature, by the pH, and that is what may cause such kind of difference. The third property of the cell membrane is possession of electric charges. The cell membrane comprises of both negative and positive charges. When there is an increase in positive charges, or maybe the negative charges, or maybe any kind of variation within the charges which are found in the external environment of this cell, the functionality of the cell membrane is affected, because it is meant to work within a neutral charge. And that is why the outer side of the membrane is comprising of the positive charges, while the inner side of the membrane comprises of the negative charges. That marks the end of lesson number 60. Thank you for watching the video. Please remember to subscribe. Hope to see you in my next video, that is in lesson number 61. Thank you.